Really impressive that these guys are going into their last lap. And it hasn't even been 20 minutes.
So Emily Roth was the woman that we saw creeping up on Tia Jumi. She's out of Canada.
Qualified for the Grand Games, I believe.
It's her first appearance at the CrossFit Games.
And look who's there on the left.
Samantha Graves, now your usual suspects. Women who did do well in this event. Sam Graves and Emily Roth have all closed the gap significantly on Tia Jumi as we are on lap number 3.
David's daughter.
That weight's just speaking to their soul right there. This stuff is real exciting. Thinking you got a whole nother lap to go with that. What are we at, 50 pounds now?
Right. This is lap 3, correct?
No, this is their
This is the final lap.
This is the final lap.
This is how fast they're running. So that 50 pounds.
That's a great group of ladies going out on that last lap together, right?
Yeah, this would be the race.
And I believe Captain David's daughter is just right behind them.
Lucas Hoberg is in the lead. Final lap, 50 pounds on his back.
And if you look at what happened with the teams earlier, with the lead that Lucas Hoberg has, it's highly unlikely that anybody's going to catch him at this point.
He's still running, or
Running.
jogging-ish, you know? I mean,
the
game hasn't changed much at all. He's very, very smooth in all of this. I mean, you see, as the weight starts to touch your soul a little bit more, it changes your gait. So you see some of them, if they're shuffling. I mean, running is resistance training of a different form. You're just on the move while you do it, right? So you're starting to see some of them, their bodies are leaning forward to almost look down and stare at their feet. And it's just, they're trying to offset the load of that weight on their shoulders. He's just plowing ahead, looking great.
I think he just lapped one of the ladies.
That's doing great too.
Matt Fraser's now kind of extricated himself from that pack of athletes that he was around. Willie George is right in front of him.
Jason, I love that you keep saying that the weight is speaking to your soul, but I'm pretty sure the word is screaming at your soul.
Matt Fraser trying to reel in Willie George, and Willie George in France. When Fraser had hair, people used to mistake Willie George in France for Matt Fraser every now and then.
Is that a true story?
It's an absolutely true story.
A doppelganger, is that what that is?
It is.
Your French doppelganger.
Willie George looking over his right shoulder to see Matt Fraser. That is not the guy you want to see trying to track you down.
And that's not what you want to be doing on your last lap, potentially, of this run.
Jacob Hepburn, you just saw him go outside of Matt Fraser. He's making a move here.
I actually think we're seeing some of the gentlemen lap some of the ladies that are still finishing their third.
James Newberry is ahead of these men. So Newberry is looking to pick up points and maybe moving to second place because we have not seen Scott Panchik yet. Joshua Whittrup was the man who was in second place behind Lucas Hoberg. And Hoberg is getting ready to lap some of the female athletes as Danny Spiegel, I think, Paige Semenza behind her.
That's at the last lap. I had Scott Panchik way down in around 40th.
So James Newberry can find himself in second place overall here, and depending on how much he beats Fraser by, there's some couple more guys to get in there. Newberry might be on top of the overall leaderboard. We got to see how this thing is going to shake out. Lucas Hoberg is going to lock up the event win. That is huge for Lucas Hoberg.
Still looks calm, cool, and collected.
Who had one of the biggest wins of his career here last year in the two-stroke pull, which is ultimately the result that gave him the tie break to put him on the podium in 2018. Lucas Hoberg wins event 3 for the men and earns 100 points. And now we're going to start seeing some races in the finish line. That's Oldest Upnix. Behind him is Chandler Smith. And Joshua Wicker with a little dab as he comes across in second place. Here comes Oldest Upnix, who has separated himself from Chandler Smith. So Upnix looking at third place overall.
is a huge finish for Chandler Smith as well. This should easily move him right back up the leaderboard.
Oakleys is across, Chandler Smith is across. So Smith in 4th place is going to earn 94 points. And now Fraser is across. Here comes Jacob Hector.
And Newberry just one spot in front of Fraser.
So Newberry will not overtake Fraser, but he will close the gap. Now here's the pack of women who are in the lead. This is going to be a great race to the finish. So Emily Rowe, Tia Judy, Kristen Holta, and Sam Briggs.
Look at the team right now.
Sight right there. It's just, may the best one win.
Yeah. Want to put money on the horses for the sprint to the finish?
We've had 12 men finish so far. The last to come across the finish line down 13 was Pat Beller. So Beller takes 13 in this event. Emily Rolfe and Tia Toomey, followed by Kristen Holta and Sam Briggs.
They're trying to remember that sprint form from the very beginning. The difference is, of course, the 3.5 miles they've gone and the extra 30 pounds. And it's fun to watch the Big D.
Yeah.
Sam Briggs has fallen back in the 4th place, so it's Holta, Rolfe, and Toomey in the lead.
Right now, as you're heading to that stadium, you're thinking slowly increase your cadence, slowly increase your stride rate, get ready to start pumping those arms for the sprint finish.
Well, you want to be careful, right? You don't want to start your sprint too early, because if you burn out, one of these girls will surely take you.
Emily Rolfe pulling ahead of Tia Toomey. Meanwhile, Brent Pikowski has come across the finish line. He finished 14th for the men. Rolfe, Toomey, and then Kristen Holta. How many times are we going to see Tia Toomey involved in the sprint to the end in the running event? So Emily Rolfe is going to be first into the North Park. And she will make the turn for home. Tia Toomey now starting to step on the gas a little bit. Rolfe makes the turn. Toomey behind her, Holta is 3rd. And it looks like Emily Rolfe is going to earn her first career event win at the CrossFit Games. Toomey will be 2nd. It's Holta in 3rd.
Okay, 20 seconds.
Here comes Sam Briggs.
And now Sam Briggs making it across the finish line.
Push-ups down my presses.
And she is done. So that's huge for Sam Briggs. And remember, we talked earlier today about whether or not you'd be able to work away on the leaderboard. Well, there you go. Here comes Catherine Davis on the work. And the other one we were talking about in that conversation was Sarah Sigurdsson. Have yet to see her. Catherine Davis on the sled dog's doing work. She's going to get across.
Right behind her is Ben Smith. We talked about him needing to have another good finish.
Keep ripping those ruts off when they start. And they can't wait to get them off their backs, right? It's like Scott Panchik just got past there at the finish.
So Scott Panchik comes across. They tell me, you've got to get out of the way of the guy behind you. But Panchik is probably going to surrender 2nd place to James Newberg. Whether or not he stays in 3rd remains to be seen. But Panchik, we get more men coming across the finish line.
So little runner Panchik looks pretty labored right now. There's Sarah.
The Panchik just took 41st, so he's going to fall significantly back here. And James Newberg is going to find himself in 2nd place overall.
Oh, I think that's Bethany Shatner. Makes her move on Sarah Sigmundsdottir right at the end.
That was a photo finish between Shatner and Sigmundsdottir. And it looks like it's going to be Shatner by 0.06 seconds. So Shatner takes 8. Sigmundsdottir, a top 10 finish. She needed that. She'll take 9.
And here comes our leader, Carrie Pierce.
Carrie Pierce will not be wearing that white jersey after this event. It's going to go back to Tia Toomey. Karen Freyova just came across the finish line. Caroline Reeves and Tebow takes 11, and here comes Carrie Pierce.
Then comes Brooke Wells and then Amanda Barnhart right behind them.
1. Got it.
Wells is in 14th, and Barnhart will take 50th, and there's Sandra Pacelli.
10.
I believe that's Anila Solomon-Hillman.
Or Jamie Green, perhaps. I don't know if Jamie Green's coming across the finish line.
That was not yet.
Yes, not.
40.
Andy Gorsutter also still out
5,
of the
4, 3, 2, 1. Got it.
That was Laura Horvath.
Danielle Brandon, the rookie we were talking about earlier, still has not finished either.
And now another sprint to the finish line. Carolyn Grivo just finished. Laurel Horvath across. She'll take 19th. Jason, you've done plenty of this. You know what it feels like. How do you recover for something this brutal?
I mean, you want to elevate your feet, right? You want to get a nice shoulder massage and so on. And, you know, then you just go back into it. Just suck it up. I mean, there's something called the rucksack flop, which is just, we see a lot of that loving thing. You know, they usually, yeah, we got to walk.
Andy Thorson, when's the last time we saw this? That was 2015 at Green Earth.
Exactly, that's exactly what that just reminded me of.
Looks like Amy Gilmadotter's behind her. Danny Stevens just around the corner, so Doris Goddard back to work here. So she was in third place overall, she was second place overall.
Second place overall.
That's going to change.
Yeah.
That's just not a fun experience when you're going from jogging to shuffling to walking to, that's just grating on you mentally and physically.
It's been a while since we saw the leaders finish. Just to get you updated for the men, it was Luke Hofer who won, Joshua Wicklow finished second, and Ulis Upnix finished third. For the women, Emily Rolfe takes for Tia Toomey in second, and Kristen Holton is in third. And Doris. I mean, this is shades of what happened 4 years ago.
You know, the
Danny
only
Stevens
thing,
starting to turn on the speed a little bit. I think now walking again, and Doris was a dead stop.
yeah, she has a lot of that same body language that she did during Murph.
Seeing that forward slouch in the, it's just, that's a bad spot to be in.
34 women at finish right now, and Andy Dorisdottir is way back.
Got it.
Dorisdottir just 12 points back, and Carrie Pierce coming into this event. Tia Toomey was in third, and Krista Holden was in fourth, so it looks like your top three. Unofficially, Holden's going to move up, Toomey's going to move up, Brooke Wells is in fifth.
10.
She had a really solid finish.
Kaylee Adams finished in sixth place. That'll keep her squarely in sixth and move her up a little bit.
This is certainly going to change things drastically for the women's overall leaderboard. Andy Dorisdottir now has to worry about
5,
maybe
2,
falling out of
That's right.
the top 5 or 6. Still keeping a smile on her face as she comes across the finish line. So, looking from an expression standpoint, much better than she did in 2015.
I agree. And I don't think she was ever able to kind of rerun during Murph, where we saw her at points walk during this run, but then at points be able to jog again.
Dorisdottir is in, and Andy Dorisdottir took 41st in that event. That's going to be just 20 points.
And that's Meg Reardon making her way in.
Later, we've got the
1.
invite after the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. She is in. And Reardon will take 42nd place. Still has some athletes out there.
See him just ripping that rough off. It's kind of like at the end of a long day of skiing, you take your ski boots off and then you put them up in front of the fire and, you know, drop a couple cold ones or whatever. Whatever you like to do. It's just such a great feeling.
Yeah.
and we talked about this yesterday, but after these first couple of events, after you watch that, this just really shows you what the separation is between the elite and the really, really, really good. Because all these women out there are really, really, really good. Only a few of them are elite, and it's when you watch an event like this with all these fit individuals and you see that, it just drives that point home.
Right, as the exposure gets bigger and bigger to different modalities, different tests, that funnel just starts to happen where the elite kind of show exactly why they're elite and they separate themselves. Like you said, they're really good.
Well, and I think, what we forget about too is with these events, it's not only how hard these events are, but the toll that they take on an athlete. So later today when we see a heavy barbell again, or we see some other skillful move, who has the right recovery and who's able to hit those second and third events today